Good morning, Brooks. In the past, I have always welcomed the opportunity to speak in chapel. This time, however, when Dr. Mavity Maddalena asked me to speak, I was a bit hesitant. It wasn't so much that I didn't feel I had something to say, but the rules for chapel speakers have changed this year. It's become obligatory to show pictures of ourselves from an earlier time, and that made me nervous. Attractive little John Packard, Hobbit-esque Randy Hesse, not to mention that adorable little Sean McDonald, and Susanna Waters, are you kidding me? Even that buttoned-up teenage Lance Latham was intimidating. How can I compete with that? Besides, no one in my family was a photographer, and very few pictures of my childhood exist as far as I know. However, I realize I'd be letting you down if I didn't come up with something. So here they are, two very poor quality photos of a younger Mr. Haile. I believe this photo was taken at Wingasheek Beach in Gloucester in the summer of 1958. The guy in the middle is my dad, flanked by my grandparents who were visiting from England. Yes, that was my grandmother's idea of a bathing suit. And that's little 3-year-old me. I'm not sure what I was holding, but it was probably an empty Budweiser can. We didn't have a lot of money for beach toys. Fast forward to my senior year in high school, 1973. I know this was on the campus of my school, Stony Brook, and the other guys in the picture were my pals, Bill and Sib. That's Bill on the left, Sib in the middle, and me on the right. We were all really into our hair. And I'm not sure why I was making that face. Okay, there you have it. The past as I recall it based on these grainy images. Looking at these photos, I became curious about other people's experience, so I turned to my advisees for some of their impressions. I asked them to share with me a photo and something memorable about their past. Here's what I found out. Duncan tries to hide it, but he really does enjoy sailing, perhaps even more than third soccer. Cam was a fierce but frustrated warrior. When he played third soccer, he had only one real goal-scoring opportunity during the season, and that was stolen from him by a teammate who took the ball and then missed the net. Gio was better dressed at age 2 than he is now. He was also a notorious ice cream thief. Katie's love of horses began with her very first pony ride, and now she jumps over fences. That's little Lee. I'm not sure about those hand signals, but Lee must have been a party animal from an early age. His deepest and perhaps his only regret about his Brooks career is that when he played third soccer, he scored 2 own goals, including one that cost us the game against Phillips Academy. Claire was a devotee of footy pajamas. Would you believe the cute imp in this picture once hit her sister in the head with a golf club? Yes, it was an accident. Little Nick has always loved summer in Maine, and from his earliest days, he's favored khaki pants. That's little Aiden. Aiden recalls wanting to drive at a very young age. The problem is that he's lived in so many places, he's never sure which side of the road to drive on. And that's Joe. Joe has vivid memories of a number of things, including hitting his sister with a baseball bat while playing t-ball. Yes, it was an accident, I think. Taylor, was it an accident? And orthopedic surgery as a result of crashing into a car with his bike. But his most satisfying memory is scoring his one and only goal in third soccer, the game winner against Lawrence Academy. So obviously, all of us have a past, just as we have a future. Have you ever thought about this, about your relationship to time? As Kennedy's excellent reading of Shakespeare's Sonnet 12 reminds us, we human beings are creatures of time, subject to its limitations and motivated by its urgings. And we don't remain static. We all grow, physically, emotionally, intellectually. I'd like to think we never stop growing. And one of the ways we grow is in our relationship to time. How about this? Think about yourself as a 5-year-old. How many times did you say, I can't wait for my birthday? When are we going to get there, Mom? You were always anxious for time to pass as quickly as possible, with no patience for delays of gratification. Time was your friend, something you could squander any way you wished. Probably you even grew bored and wasted time, anxious for anything exciting to happen. You rarely looked beyond yourself. Now think about where you are in relation to time as a teenager. Some of that childhood impatience still exists, I imagine. I can't wait till this chapel is over. I wish I knew where I was going to college next year. Only 2 months left till I get my driver's license. Can't wait till I'm 21 and can drink legally. You're still anxious for time to pass as quickly as possible, but you have a bit more patience and ability to delay gratification. Your horizon is a little bit broader. Now think about yourself as being the age of Mr. Wagner or Ms. Rooney. You're an adult in your mid-20s, fit, healthy, energetic, full of life, free to choose what you want to do. What's your relationship to time? You're not worried about it. Don't think about it much. Happy to ride the wave. You're able to look around and see the world from lots of points of view. The horizons are expanding. What comes next? Middle age. You begin to get serious about a career, about settling down, about family and kids. You'd like to kind of stay on hold in regards to time. You feel there's never enough time for all the things you need to do or want to include in your life. You begin to wish you had more time to sleep, to be with your kids, to pursue hobbies, time with family, projects. This is often a time in life when you see distant horizons, but the need to get little Johnny to hockey practice crowds out that vision. And then you begin to get older, your grandparents' age. You're putting on weight. Those wrinkles and varicose veins begin to appear. You forget stuff. You can't do everything you used to do. You begin to be aware of your age in a different way. Time becomes your enemy. You don't want time to pass. You wish things would slow down. Celebrating birthdays isn't so much fun anymore. Welcome to my world. The one real consolation is that you have the benefit of increased perspective and usually more time to think and act on that perspective. You got a lot of life experience behind you, good and bad, and that helps to keep mountains, mountains, and molehills, molehills. Okay, so what are we to make of this changing relationship to time in our lives? The usual answer, a favorite with English poets of the Romantic period, made famous by the movie Dead Poets Society and seniors in their spring chapel talks, not to mention most of the country songs ever written, is carpe diem. This Latin phrase means seize the day, and it encourages us to live in the now and enjoy the moment we're in. You only live once, YOLO. Stop and smell the roses. Love the one you're with. It takes many forms. Okay, so who's going to argue with that? No sensible person. It's a good starting place, I guess, but I find myself unsatisfied with it. It feels incomplete to me. Feels incomplete because most of the time it's all about me. Where I am in this moment, what I want, and what will give me satisfaction. I have no problem with taking care of ourselves in our immediate relationships and circumstances, and sometimes living in the moment does mean looking outward or acting unselfishly. But sometimes that's not enough. What about when in our own lives and the lives of those around us things aren't going well, when sorrow and pain arrive? Seems we need something more than YOLO. Present moment can feel oppressive and even tyrannous at times. We can become bound by the immediate if we don't have a perspective that stretches beyond it, even while we're embracing and accepting it. This winter term, Ms. Perkins and I had the great privilege of spending 3 weeks with 12 exceptional Brooksians immersed in the news and the news media. It was great, but it was hard. This experience forced us daily outside of ourselves and into the world of angry and divisive domestic politics, lies and fake news, hate crimes in Chicago, murders all over the place, ugly racial realities in our own country, avalanches in Italy, despair in Indonesia, and dictators who refuse to give up power in Africa. That's the real world out there. Honestly, by the end of winter term, I was saturated and exhausted with the news. I think we all felt that way a bit. I just wanted to escape, to live in the moment, and binge watch Stranger Things. Confronted with the world outside the Brooks bubble, we're put in a place where just living for the moment is a completely understandable position, but somehow a little selfish. How can we understand our place in time in such a way that we can cope with the real world rather than just escape from it? I think maybe it has to do with working on our horizons, with what a philosopher might call transcendence. Transcendent things are those which are not bound by time, larger things than ourselves, larger than one life, one family, one school, one culture, one country, one race, one species, and even one planet, perhaps. This is the stuff of faith, of spirituality, and of education. It involves seeing ourselves as part of the continuum of time. It's why a knowledge of our history is so important. Not so much because history repeats itself, I don't really think that happens, but because if we don't understand and accept our connections to the past, we can't live fully in the present. Take the question of race in America as an example. If we try simply to live in the moment, without understanding what Dr. King calls America's original sin of slavery and Jim Crow, white Americans may find it hard to see why many black Americans can't just accept the idea that we live on a level playing field in 2017. Only through understanding the arc of our national history can we arrive at some kind of transcendence in our understanding and the empathy that allows. Art, music, and literature are also vehicles for transcendence. They broaden our horizons and help us to get beyond our particular place in time and space. Rooted in local experience, the arts at their best always suggest the universality of experience, They connect us across age and culture. As a school, we're about to take a big step forward with a new arts facility that will give us all enhanced opportunities to make, perform, and enjoy the art that broadens our horizons. For many people, religious faith or spirituality is an important way to transcend the primacy of the moment. I fear we worry at Brooks about speaking forthrightly about religious faith, given the fact that it's often a divisive thing in our country and in the world. That's too bad. It was a joyful thing for me to see Ms. Shawnyell's gospel group, Confirmation, sing for us on Martin Luther King Day. Their bold Christian faith helps them transcend the moment and make sense of the world. It also brought us all together in song. One of the ways we are diverse at Brooks is in our spirituality. Some of us are agnostics. It's complicated, right, Mr. Hesse? Some of us are outspoken atheists. Some of us embrace a distinct faith tradition. Whatever we do to find connection to something spiritual and transcendent, to something beyond time, is worth celebrating. So, history, the arts, spirituality, these are things I hope all of us can think about seriously and can celebrate in our community. By all means, live in the moment, seize the day. But consider also that the moment is just that, here today and gone tomorrow. A full, free, and productive life calls us beyond the immediate. Don't let time tyrannize you. Celebrate what you know, what you can create, what you believe. Look back, look forward, look up. Thanks for listening. To conclude this morning, I'd like to take you back in time to my high school years when a big hit was a song by Pete Seeger based on the biblical book of Ecclesiastes and performed by a California hippie band called the Byrds. Have a wonderful day.